All right, guys, what is up? I am back again with another training session. Today, or yesterday actually, I'm getting to this a day late. Sorry for the late upload. Back and shoulders session. Starting out here with the single arm cable row lat biased. I think this is like my second set here. Yeah, this is my second set. I didn't get my warm ups in my first set because someone kept getting in the way of my camera, which is fine, whatever. But yeah, ended up sticking with the same weight here. Actually, first, let me say session time for today. Hour and 8 minutes. This session was pretty tough. I was pretty gassed near the end of this, actually. Just think it was a long week. You know, some of that fatigue is starting to accumulate as we start to push things harder. So getting used to that. Wasn't a bad session at all. Just felt hard. In a good way, though. Not the worst. Not the easiest, somewhere in the middle, right? But yeah, second set here, I end up getting 125 for 10. So if you remember, you watched my video from last week, I was at 125, so I did not take a weight increase here. I kept the weight the same. The goal is only 8 to 10 reps here. Last week, I think I got 10 and then 8 for my top set in my second set. This week, I got 125 for 11 and then 10. So this felt really good. Great rep progression there. Really hit this hard this week. Tried kind of setting up a little differently. I stopped crossing my arm over. The hardest thing about this movement is honestly just getting a good setup that allows you to lock that torso into place. For me, I feel like this is probably about as good as it gets. When I cross my hand over, it sometimes gives me some like pain, which is a little weird. But yeah, otherwise felt good. Great start today to take a huge rep progression like that. Third set is a back off set, and that's going to be this set here. That is a 12 to 15 goal instead of 8 to 10. And I hit 100 for 13. I did a 10-pound increase up from 90 and took 2 reps off. I hit 15 last week with 90, but I hit 13 this week with 100. So I'll take that. Really good progression. Yeah, felt really good. Continuing to improve this movement. I think eventually when I kind of start stalling on this, I'll end up swapping this out for a chest supported lat low row on the, I have like a single arm, I think it's a Nautilus plate loaded row. And I love that machine. We just have this in place right now. So once this stalls, we'll probably switch to that. Because it allows me to have pretty much the same exact path as I have here, but better chest bracing to kind of take that rotational momentum out of the equation. But yeah, not a whole lot more to say about this one. Again, little bit of a hard session, but I don't want to say rough. Everything went well. Took some great progressions overall. Felt good. Felt really good. Just getting into the groove with things, kind of continuing to improve week over week. As of today, when I upload this, we're exactly 2 weeks into the growth phase. Body weight is hovering around 205, which is about 5 pounds up, 5 or 6 pounds up actually from the final week of the deficit. Awesome progress so far. I think that first week was like 3.5 pounds and then 1.5 pounds or so this second week. Which is perfect. That's right on target with where we want to be. Obviously, that first week is going to be more weight gain just because, you know, we're finally getting some food back in me, but feels great. And then I think we will be moving into the next movement here. That is going to be my T-bar row. So setup on this with that kind of new setup I'm going for, a high neutral grip here. 3 straight sets here. This is my high rep day for the T-bar row. So rep goal of 10 to 15 here. Hit 135 for 16 on the top set, which was I believe 2 rep progression from last week. That felt really good. These honestly felt great this week, especially this top set. Really felt fucking good. These felt smooth as butter. And part of that is, if you notice, I'm kind of like locking my feet forward a little bit more so that I can throw my hips back and focus on pulling up a little bit, almost like pulling up and back. And it felt really good to kind of reposition like that. Rounding off the set with some Kelso shrugs there, just to fatigue the traps at the end of the movement there. Again, 3 sets here. Rep goal is 10 to 15. I did 135 pounds on all 3 sets, hit 16, 12, and 10. I think next week I'm probably going to keep the weight the same. Obviously, I was 1 rep over that 15 on the top set, but I think I want to hit 17 here before I take a weight progression, just because this is a movement where, since I'm not doing this chest supported because I don't have that available to me, adding more weight on the bar really kind of, I guess I kind of become predisposed to like just adding more weight and worsening my form just so I can move that weight. So I want to stop myself from adding weight too quickly and just kind of focus on increasing the reps here before taking that definite weight progression. You know, it's quality over quantity, right? And if we can get quality work here rather than a higher quantity of weight, that is exactly what I want to see. So going to keep progressing the reps here next week. Hopefully something like 17, maybe like 17, 14, 12 would be perfect. That would be me being confident enough to say, okay, we're going to go up to 140 next week. And on this, I am just taking 5-pound progressions right now. It does feel a little bit heavy for me as is. We'll see how that changes when I have access to the chest supported machine here in a few months. But for now, yeah, this is feeling good, and we're gonna stick with some rep increases next week. This one was the biggest change in kind of the exercise setup here this week. I discussed this with my own coach, and we kind of changed this to fit my needs a little bit more, fit my preferences a little bit more. So as you can see here, I'm using a much closer grip on the upper back biased pull down, which felt fucking great. This felt so much better than trying to use a wider neutral grip or an overhand grip. This felt awesome. The other change we made here is that we dropped the reps from 10 to 15 to an 8 to 12 range. That also felt awesome. So I went up from 140 to 160, and instead of getting 140 for 15, like I did last week, or 16, I hit 160 for 12. So we hit the high end of the rep range on this top set here. I will probably increase this by 5 pounds next week. But they were a little grindy, you know. The second set specifically, that first set was pretty much fine. The second set, I hit 160 for 8, so the low end of the range. And then the third set, I end up dropping down to 140, and I did 140 for 8. So I think next week what I might do and how I might structure this progression going forward is to keep this grip, because I loved this grip, and then do a top set, let's say 165 next week, and then on that back off set, or the following 2 sets, make them back off sets and kind of drop down immediately on that second set rather than waiting to drop on that third set. We'll see. Might also just keep it at the same weight and see if I can progress that weight up, or the reps up with that weight rather. Yeah, I don't know. Overall, I can take progressions here, and it felt a lot better, so I'm super happy with this new setup. For this, might try, there's like I call it a horseshoe grip. There's a bar that's slightly different from this and has a little bit of a smaller, how am I trying to put it? Like a smaller grip, and like the bar itself is thinner, and it's a slightly further spacing on it with a little bit of like a camber in the bar. So I might try that next week, but this one felt good. So if it's available, I might try it. If not, we'll stick with this. No real reason to switch it up when this felt good, I suppose. So yeah, not a whole lot more to say here. Good progression. Felt the best this has ever felt. I think the rep range was honestly the biggest part of that, not even the grip. Just for me, back work typically feels better in a lower rep range. All right, and then moving on to my shoulder portion of this back and shoulder day. This is my machine lateral. As I mentioned, I've now fully switched to the Cybex machine. So ended up taking some really good rep progressions here. This is 100 pounds on the machine here. The Cybex is a lot heavier than that Nautilus. I was up to like 180 at one point on the Nautilus on this day, but the Cybex is just a much heavier machine with a better path. So 100 here for 17 reps, and then 100 for 11, 100 for 9, and the final set is going to be 75 for 10. So goal is 10 to 15. Hit that on every set except for that third set where I hit 9 instead of 10. don't think I need to make a change there. I think I just need to kind of grind that one out a little bit more. Some of these final reps are very grindy here on this movement just because, those side delts, they just fatigue, so hard partway through these sets. But this felt really good, again, as always. So, again, not much to say on this movement. It's progressing well. I guess I'll let this one play out and then catch up with you guys when we get to the shoulder press. All right, now moving into the shoulder press machine. Took a 5-pound weight progression here because last week I smashed my reps. We smashed reps again this week. This is just feeling fucking awesome. This is progressing, I think, faster than anything else. You can see I'm now moving the whole stack. We're damn near it. 250 for 13 on this top set. The goal is 8 to 12. 250 for 8 on the second set. The goal again, 8 to 12. And then I dropped down to 170 for the third set. I kind of got like 11 and a half. So we took a weight progression and a rep match on the top set. Same with the back off set, or the second set rather. And then on the back off set, the third set, same weight, same reps. Kind of got on extra like partial there at the end. So, hey, to me, that's more, that's progress. Felt really good. So the weight goes up again next week. We're getting to the point on this machine where I think I have 10 more pounds to go. So if progression keeps going the way it has been, then 2 weeks and I'll have to start throwing my, I don't have a gym pin. I have some off-brand knockoff thing, but it's, if you know what a gym pin is, it's a pin that goes into the stack and allows you to add plates onto the stack. So I'll have to start throwing that in here soon because I've basically maxed out this machine. This is my only dedicated front delt work in the week. This is the only 3 sets. That's it. That is all I need. Because on my push day, I'm getting obviously some delt work there as well. And my front delts are just a pretty good strong point right now. We don't need to dedicate a lot of work to them at all. Side delts and rear delts obviously get a lot more attention, but front delts, this is all we have. This is all they need. And yeah, it feels really good. So not a whole lot to say there. Good, solid progression. Rear pec deck fly, or reverse pec deck fly here. Final movement of the day. Like I was saying, my rear delts getting a lot more volume focus here, and they've been coming up exceptionally as well. I think my rear delts are very well improved here too. Not that they were a huge problem before, but I feel like we've just made good progress on them. 4 sets here. Rep goal is 10 to 15 across all of those sets. Stuck with the same weight here as last week, 105 pounds. Ended up hitting 17 on the first set, 17 reps, and I think that was a 2-rep progression. 12 on the second set, which was a 1-rep progression. 11 on the third set, which was a 1-rep progression. And then 9 on the last set, which was actually a 1-rep regression. But I took 1 or 2 reps on every set before that, so I am not bummed about missing 1 on that last one. Not a big deal at all. Overall, really good progress, really successful session. Yeah, I mean, it seems like every session I'm hitting probably like 4 or 5 either rep, weight, or volume PRs, like one of the three across maybe 4 exercises or 5 exercises. That's awesome. That's just, I mean, my progress is just skyrocketing right now. Everything feels really good. Starting this week, we had a slight PED increase. So my PED load now is 500 mgs of test, 750 mgs of Masteron. This is per week. And what else did we change? Oh, we added in 5 IU of Lantus, basal insulin per day, just to kind of help with that insulin sensitivity and insulin resistance as we continue to push food up, keeping that blood glucose as low as possible. That's all that changed this week. That, and we added 20 grams of cream of rice to my training days. So the food increase, you can see, doesn't need to be big to continue moving the needle in the right direction. In fact, the smaller of a effective change you can make, the better, because then it just gives you more room to make those changes going forward. 80 calories on training days every week adds up. And if that is what it takes, if that's all it takes to move the needle, that's all we need. Growth is great right now, around that 1.5 pound mark per week, and that's probably the pace we're going to keep up. So looking forward to this next week to getting in and continuing the bulk. And on that note, guys, I will catch you next time. Remember to subscribe, like, comment, check out all my other content, all that good stuff, and take it easy.